Hello everyone, and welcome back to Wednesday here on the Pagan Perspective. I am your host Eric, and this week we are talking about curses and intolerance. This week we are getting our topic from, I'm going to try this, I'm sorry, this is probably going to be terrible, but Lascia Ispola, Curses and Tolerance. It's our opinions on the subject, and she writes, I'm just going to go ahead and read pretty much this whole thing. I've run into some witches, mainly on Tumblr, who use curses to revenge on someone. I've even seen cases where a person A talks about cursing and person B says it's wrong. Person A gets angry. He or she says that person B has no right to force their opinions on person A, and that person B is being intolerant. Person A threatens to curse person B. When those people who curse to revenge are asked why they often seem to answer something like, you should not let others treat you however they want. What if the curse is the threefold law, like karma coming back to them? The questions are, what do you think about curses? Have you ever cursed anyone, and why? Do you think criticizing people who curse means you are being intolerant? Does being intolerant mean that you have to tolerate everything? Are there any situations where you think it's okay or advisable to criticize, for example, someone's religious beliefs, etc.? What do you think about the arguments pro-cursing I mentioned? And then they go on to say that they hope it's not too long, and that they hope that since English is not their mother language, that they hope they got the phrases and such right. And that first, yes, that was completely understandable. I didn't have any problems with the language. But let's go into the questions themselves. What do you think about curses? I don't understand how they work, and therefore don't use them myself. I have no interest in making other people... I have no interest in bringing anyone else down. I would much rather bring myself up, and if that means I have to bring myself above the level of action they are taking and stop hanging out with them, so be it. But the closest thing that I have ever come to what a lot of people would consider a curse is my mantra during rush hour and on the road and driving, and that is when somebody does something exceedingly stupid, rude, aggressive, or angry, my phrase to them is, may the universe give you everything you deserve. Because I don't necessarily know what the circumstance to their erratic and terrible driving behavior is, but I'm kind of hoping that they get theirs in the end, and that doesn't have to come from my hand. So that's what I think about curses. Since I don't understand them and I don't understand how they work, other than maybe wanting bad things to happen to bad people, I don't want bad things to happen to bad people. I want bad people to see that they're being bad and to stop being bad. So, have you ever cursed anyone? Not that I am aware of, because I don't understand how that works or what the repercussions would be. So, I can't speak to the idea that I have ever, especially on purpose, or would ever, especially on purpose. When it comes to the situation that we were talking about, where person A is talking about cursing someone and person B criticizes them for that, I think when it gets to the part where person A says that they have no right to force their opinions on them, that is a load, because to force an opinion on someone, they have to be willing to continue to converse with you. And you can walk away as the offended party, because I can't speak to the rest of the world, but in the United States, we have the freedom of speech, which allows us to give any opinion we have unsolicited, so long as it is not threatening, demeaning, or otherwise defamatory, without foundation. If somebody has done something, and like, for example, in this specific instance, if you say, I think cursing people is morally wrong. I don't think you should do it. If that's your opinion, you are fully within your rights to state that, and that is not oppressive, and that is not intolerant. That is your opinion. An opinion is not an intolerant thing. What you do with your opinion is the intolerance. If you say, look, if you're going to continue to curse people, I am not going to be your friend. I am not going to associate with you anymore. That is more of an intolerant thing. I don't have a problem with that personally, because tolerance is for things that people do that is acceptable by some and not acceptable by others. Rich used an example on Monday about child abuse. Child abuse is never an okay thing. Now, spanking children, I don't have a problem with that, as long as it's not excessive and it's not intended to actually injure the child. But when it comes to other various like sexual abuse of a child, that will never and has never been okay. That is a thing that I am intolerant of. And although it is normal for society to think that the sexual abuse of children is not acceptable, it's still an intolerance. But that doesn't make it a bad thing. So an intolerance does not necessarily have to be a negative thing. You can be spreading positivity and be intolerant of someone's actions. Now, when it comes to things like, being homosexual or being non-Christian or being a Christian or being atheist or any religious practice that you decide, so long as it does not injure someone else, not necessarily injure their pride, because I don't give two shits about anyone else's pride, but if it does not injure another human being or take the opportunity of a happy and whole life from a person or being, including animals, which is basically, if you don't animal or human sacrifice from unwilling donors, I don't care what you do for your for your religious practice or any other practice for that matter, as long as it does not impede on the rights and freedoms of others. I don't care. Go for it. But as soon as you start injuring or hurting other people or getting in people's way because of your intolerance of their choices, then we might have issue. Let's go to the next couple of questions. Do I think criticizing people who curse means you're being intolerant? We just discussed that. No, I don't think it's being intolerant. I think it's stating an opinion. You're not trying to stop them. You're not forcing them to listen to your opinion. You're not tying them down and holding them in place and saying, you got to stop doing this. That's not what we're talking about. We're just saying, I don't like that you do that. And yeah, maybe there is a little bit of intolerance there for somebody's choices. But the intent of cursing, from what I understand, which is very little, I'm just stating that as a fact, very little. I have little to no idea what it's for. But the idea is sending bad energy towards someone. Why would you do that? Especially if, the threefold law or karma is really a thing and you're going to get it back in the end. Why would you be sending that out? Sending negativity out into the universe is not... in my opinion, is not a good thing. It's quite the opposite of that. Do you have to tolerate everything? No, you don't have to tolerate everything. We talked about that. Are there any situations in which you think it's okay or advisable to criticize, for the example of someone's religious beliefs or etc.? We discussed that a little bit, in the idea of criticizing is absolutely fine, especially if you have a legitimate concern. If your concern is, well, it's weird and it's not what I'm used to, then screw off. It's not your freaking religion. But if it's something that you're concerned is going to injure someone or harm someone or get somebody sent to jail because it's not allowed in your area or your region, then perhaps, that criticism should be voiced. Otherwise, voice your opinion and don't expect to have to agree. You don't have to agree with somebody's opinion just because they state it. You also don't have to disagree with someone's opinion openly just because they tell you. I am more than willing, just like Rich said on Monday, I am more than willing to let you express your opinion as long as you're willing to listen to mine. If you're going to badger and berate me for my beliefs, my experiences, my actions, whatever, so long as those actions don't affect negatively anyone around me, screw off. I don't care what you have to say, and I don't need to tell you my opinion either, so, at that point you're kind of at an impasse. What do you think about the arguments of pro-cursing? Well, I think the argument of, you should not let others treat you however they want. That is true. You should not allow others to treat you any worse than you treat them. So, if you're going to curse someone as a revenge tactic, I think that's a stupid plan, because a confrontation and a, hey, you need to stop, you get the first one for free, is usually enough for me. As for the idea of arguing against it for the threefold law or karma, I still maintain that putting positivity out into your surroundings and into the universe definitely makes for a much easier time of reaping what you sow and taking back in what you put out. So, that's it for me this week. I hope that answered the questions, and if not, feel free to, hit me up in the comment section. I'll keep an eye on it for a week or so. But that's it for me this week. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, until next time, Odin be with you.